You are now listening to Alice.
Chapter 7. Ethan stood frozen, his breath caught in his throat as Alice's mask slipped from her hand. For the first time since he had stepped back into her world, he was staring at the real Alice Norman, the girl he once knew. The woman she had become. Her mismatched eyes shimmered beneath the soft glow of her office lights. One brown, warm and earthy, the other a pale gray that seemed to hold storms inside it. Her skin bore faint scars, the kind that whispered stories of teenage battles with acne, the kind she had probably been mocked for more times than she could count. Her curls, though pinned back, framed her face like a halo, but Ethan didn't see imperfections. He saw beauty. Raw, natural, unpolished beauty. The kind of beauty that made his chest ache because it wasn't about symmetry or perfection, it was about truth. Alice, he breathed almost reverently, as if her name was a prayer. You don't need that mask. Not with me. Her body stiffened instantly. The mask trembled in her hand, her fingers gripping it as if it were a lifeline. Panic clouded her features, and her lips parted in a shaky gasp. Don't, she whispered, shaking her head violently. Don't say that. Ethan took a step closer, careful, like a man approaching a frightened bird. It's true. He swallowed, fighting for words that didn't sound rehearsed or hollow. You're beautiful, Alice, exactly as you are. For a fleeting second, something flickered in her eyes, something fragile, almost hopeful. But just as quickly, it vanished. Her mind betrayed her, filled with the echoes of her sister's cruel laughter. Ugly freak, look at your skin. Who would ever want you? One brown eye, one gray. You look cursed. No wonder you'll end up alone. The voices were sharp, cutting into her like glass. She could see them in her memory, standing in their designer clothes, flawless skin glowing under perfect makeup, while they sneered at her mismatched reflection in the mirror. And now here was Ethan, saying the one thing she had longed to hear but never believed. It hurt more than the insults, because it felt like a lie. Stop, she said harshly, pushing him away with both hands. Her chest heaved with uneven breaths, her eyes burning with unshed tears. Don't say things you don't mean. Ethan stumbled back, stunned by the force in her voice. His heart cracked at the sight of her trembling. I do mean it, he said softly, but she shook her head. You don't understand, Alice snapped, clutching the mask against her chest like armor. I've lived my whole life being told I was ugly, that I wasn't enough. And then I built this. She gestured at her office, at the glass walls and glowing monitors, so I could hide behind it. The mask isn't just a thing I wear. It's who people respect. It's who they admire. Not this face. Her voice cracked on the last word, but she refused to let tears fall. She wouldn't give him the satisfaction. Ethan's jaw tightened. He wanted to shout that her sisters were wrong, that the world was blind, that she was worth more than every cruel word that had ever been thrown at her. But he could see how deep the scars ran. Words alone wouldn't be enough to erase years of torment. He stepped forward again, slower this time, his eyes soft and steady. Alice, I see you. Not the mask. Not the CEO everyone whispers about. You. Her chest tightened painfully. Why did his words sound so familiar? Why did his voice carry the same warmth she once remembered in high school, when a boy with kind eyes promised her she wasn't alone? But memory or not, she couldn't let herself believe. Believing was dangerous. Believing would mean opening the door to pain again. No, she said firmly, though her voice shook. You don't see me. You see what you want to see. And I'm not going to let you play with me. Before he could answer, she shoved the mask back onto her face, tying it swiftly with trembling fingers. The moment it was secure, she felt her walls rise again. Her breathing steadied, and the Alice who faced him now wasn't the fragile, trembling girl of a moment ago. She was the CEO, the untouchable Mr. Osman, she said, her tone clipped and professional. This conversation is over. Thank you for your investment in a gaming company, but in the future, let's keep our discussions strictly about business. Her words were like ice. But Ethan could see the storm raging behind her mask. He wanted to tell her everything. That he was Ethan, her Ethan, the boy she once saved. That he had carried her courage with him all these years. That he had returned not just to invest in her company but to keep the promise he had once made. But he didn't. Not yet, he exhaled slowly, forcing himself to step back. If that's what you want, he said carefully. His voice was calm, but inside, his heart burned with frustration. Alice stood tall, her mask firmly in place, her arms crossed over her chest. She had won this round, shutting him out before he could break through. But as soon as Ethan left her office, her shoulders slumped, and she sank into her chair. Her fingers brushed the mask, tracing its smooth surface. It was supposed to protect her, but tonight it felt heavier than ever, and in the quiet of her office, the voices of her sisters echoed louder than before. You'll never be enough. No one will ever love you for who you are. Alice closed her eyes tightly, tears finally spilling over as she whispered to herself, they're right. They've always been right.